Good afternoon, family, and welcome to episode 2 of Black Wealth Wednesdays, where we're on a mission to create generational Black wealth and change family trees. Today's episode is about personal finance planning. And just a brief reminder of how the whole process works here. We are interviewing a panel of different experts each week. Sometimes it'll be one, sometimes there'll be a couple, but the goal is to distill the information, the resources, and the tools that we've been either denied or unaware of or systematically ousted from being a part of, and to start that slow, painful process of accruing Black wealth, okay? Because that's the only way forward. So today's topic, just to give you a bit of insight once again on the current status of Black wealth in America. Currently, as of 2019, the median white household wealth is $188,000 compared to the median Black household wealth of $24,000. So Blacks only hold about 4% of all household wealth. If you all were with us for episode 1 last week or 2 weeks ago, I think it was, you will understand a bit more about how serious that is and some of the things that have gone into undergirding those numbers. But today we're here to talk about the role that financial advising and financial planning plays in the overall wealth creation game. Joining us today, we have a very knowledgeable young lady out of Atlanta, Georgia. Her name is Kiara Jones. She's going to be joining us momentarily here. And then the lead up to me getting Miss Jones on the air, let me go ahead and tell you a bit about her. Kiara Jones is a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley Wealth Management in Atlanta, Georgia. She assists corporate professionals, executives, and privately held businesses with comprehensive wealth management solutions and investment advisory services. As a financial advisor, her primary role is to provide the team with financial planning, investment research, portfolio analytics, and client servicing, as well as manage business operations and marketing. And also, Kiara is a proud graduate of North Carolina Central University. So we're going to go ahead and get Kiara in now. Hey, Miss Jones.
Hey,
All right, welcome. Like, thank you so much for joining us
thank
this
you.
evening. How you feeling?
Doing good. Doing good.
Fantastic. I just told everyone a bit about you, but give us a little bit of background of who you are, what you do, and kind of. I know you're part of a pretty distinct group in the Atlanta area, the Walton Group at Morgan Stanley. So just tell us a bit about your experience thus far.
Okay, so I am a financial advisor on the team, the Walton Group at Morgan Stanley. I've been with Morgan Stanley for about 5 years, and we work with a lot of corporate professionals, entrepreneurs, and really just doing a lot of holistic planning, in addition to investments, life insurance, all the needs, but a big focus and a big niche in retirement planning. So really assisting with getting people really focused on the accumulation phase and moving towards preparing for retirement. So our team really focuses on that a lot. And then from retirement is really wealth transfer and how you want to leave a legacy for your family or leave a legacy for your community. So we do a lot with that as well.
Absolutely. Which is why you're here today. So again, we appreciate your time. And I did leave out, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Jones possesses over 10 years of industry experience. So again, we only want to have the best here leading us towards where we need to be as a people as far as creating generational wealth. So we're going to get right to it. Before we do though, Kiara, there's one thing I discovered in doing my research about the industry. I know there's a lot of different certifications. You have your FINRA, you have your CFP, your wealth certifications. I'm not even going to get out of my depth because I'm sure I might be saying some wrong stuff. But I was shocked, but then again, not shocked, which is pretty much the Black experience, at how underrepresented we are in your industry. In fact, it said that about 1.5% of all certified financial planners, just that specific certification, are Black. So to have you here and to be talking to you, and if anyone is out there listening, of course, I want you to go and check out the Walton Group at Morgan Stanley. You open up this beautiful PDF of the presentation of their company and services. You see 3 Black faces on the front. So right away, like, this is a rarity that we're dealing with. So Just how do you, is that your experience as well, Kiara, that you don't see many people that look like you in your space?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the industry in general, like you said, 1% of certified financial planners are Black. And then it goes, and then if you break down that 1%, looking at women, Black women, the industry just doesn't have a lot of Black women or Black people in general represented, which also goes to show why we don't have a lot of times the resources or education to know and trust the industry because we're not represented well there, which is changing. I mean, even the CFP board said that in 2020, and they use people of color, not just Black, but Latino as well, they had an increase of 12% in certificates, which is huge, but
Coming from
a small
0.5%,
drop in the
it may
bucket.
seem,
Right.
but that's
A
good.
drop in
We'll
the
take
bucket
it.
for
Progress is a
right.
slow process, man. So,
Right.
all right. Well, look, Center for Black Progress, that's what we're here. So we're here for all the progress we can take, no matter how little, no matter how slow. So again, I appreciate you
Yeah.
just knowing how underrepresented that you're in that space, not just surviving, but thriving. So of course, we're going to hope that you have much more success. But again, moving right on into it. So this is the part where we pick your brain. We try to get you to offer up whatever knowledge and resources that you know to help out the masses. So describe your knowledge of the current level of Black involvement and engagement with the space, as far as, I guess, recipients of financial planning and advising. We talked a little bit about how the people on your side of the table are underrepresented, but from your personal experience, how many Black clients have you had, and what's your feel for how many are in the industry that taking advantage of these services overall?
Well, being in Atlanta, my team is fortunate enough to have a heavy Black book of business. A lot of our clients are African American, and we work with a lot of corporate professionals. So it's people that are have some knowledge of the resources as far as some of the financial vehicles that you use to gather wealth. So we've been fortunate in that space to kind of build a caliber of Black clients that understand some of wealth gathering and planning for wealth.
So you're kind of in that little protected bubble, one of those Black meccas, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yes.
That's a blessing. It's kind of like going
But
to
that doesn't
HBCU,
say, right. And I was about to say, but that doesn't mean that everybody that we serve fits in that space, because we do have a lot of people that we're starting from scratch and we're giving them the elements and kind of taking them step by step. Okay. And I would say people are fortunate enough to be curious early, because that's the big basis of it. Is if you know this information before 30 or before 40, you're able to still have time to plan, still have time to make a plan, and really engage in some of the wealth building skills that only come from compounded interest, that only come from having a road ahead of you. And so I would say, even with young people, it's about educating, or even with our mature clients, it's about educating with what's out there. How can I plan? How can I save? What should I be saving? What should I be doing? And so a lot of it is education too, not just for people that understand, but I mean, the industry is always growing. There's always something new. There's always a new bubble, a new interest, a new fad. And so there's always something happening.
Like this whole GameStop thing recently, right?
Oh my gosh.
we ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole. But look, I think you kind of you already started going towards what my next question is going to be, which was just give me a couple of reasons. I say the three biggest reasons, but however many you can name off, what are the biggest reasons that Black people should get involved with this space? How can talking to a Kiara Jones, to a Walton Group, or Morgan Stanley, how can going that route help us create generational wealth?
The same things we keep talking about is just education. knowing what you want to do. I think a lot of times people don't take the time to even think about what their life can be or what they can create for the next generation or their community. And so a lot of times it's about taking the time to talk to somebody that is not in your personal life, but can think outside the box with you and kind of plan for life's big moments with you. And so I think that's the biggest thing for people to understand is, aside from just investments, you're coming to a wealth advisor, a financial advisor, to talk about those uncomfortable conversations. So really just planning life's big moments.
Okay. So give me personally, I have never went to a financial advisor myself. So I am ignorant even of how the process works. So you don't have to give me like the nitty gritty nuts and bolts, but tell me for me and for people out there who've never, again, me and you before, we talked about trust being a big part of this process, but what is it like for someone to go in and sit down with a financial advisor? What kind of value can you expect to get from sitting down with someone like yourself on day one?
I mean, there is a certain level of trust you have to have coming into the room, because we're going to ask you to be transparent about something that's, I would say for a lot of people in our community is a private thing, So it's like going to the doctor for the first time. You have to be transparent. You have to tell us honestly what's really going on. And so a lot of that is built in that first meeting, because not only do I want to know what's going on with you, but I need to know what's going on with the people that you're connected to. Who else are you supporting? Who else are you engaging with? Who is influencing your decisions and your finances? So a lot of that, on day one, needs to be understood. And then it just goes into, again, what are your goals? What are your objectives? What is your relationship to money? And has that developed over time? Have you been influenced by your community by that? Or what can we do? Or what are your expectations of us? So a lot of times you may come into the room and think, tell me what to do. But sometimes people are coming guarded up and they just need education first. So let me tell you about our team. We want to know, well, this is what we can do for you. We can give you a budget, because sometimes people just need to start off with that. They need to start with budgeting. Then they can get to a point where they're saving. Then you can get to a point where you're investing. Then you can protect your wealth and allow it to grow. So it really just depends on where someone's starting. And that can kind of gauge where we go from here.
Okay. I like it. So what I got from that is education, your personal relationship to money, and your goals going toward the future. All right. So those are definitely compelling reasons. So what do you think is some of the biggest misconceptions about the space? Why would you, from anybody, but especially Black people, because I'm sure a lot of people who rise to a certain professional level in their career, they eventually are going to talk to their old friends or family about it. Somebody might think, oh, what you think you know about money, girl? So there's some misconceptions that people have, and I'm sure you've had to educate people, and even the folks that you don't know that come in for the first time. So what are some of the things you typically run into? So some of those problems we can head off at the pass before they even have a chance to hold us back.
A lot of times Black people think that financial advisors are life insurance agents, and that I'm going to try to sell you a life insurance policy, or I'm going to try to sell you mutual funds, or that I'm selling something, and there's something that you're going to have to buy. There's something that you have to give me in order for me to serve you, and that's not how it works. And so on this side, we can do stocks, we can do mutual funds, there's a plethora that is on the Morgan Stanley platform. But my concern and my goal with each and every person I meet is to get you on a path to reach your financial goals. And so it starts with that. It may not necessarily be a life insurance policy. It may not necessarily be buying Tesla stock, Like there's so much more that goes into it, and people think that, okay, you can tell me right now what I should do. And I can't without understanding who you are, what your needs are, the needs of your family. There's so much more than, just the one point of view that people may have about the industry.
So it's like a holistic perspective of things that you guys take into account
Right,
before you feel professionally comfortable with even prescribing any type of course of action.
right, right.
Okay. And that's tough for a lot of people because,
Definitely.
especially on the Black side of the street, where we're not familiar with an area and it's not an easy insert coin here, get your financial advice there.
Right,
You have to come in,
right.
you have to reveal, you have to open up your heart, your wallet a little bit just to like let people
Yes.
inside. And I can see how that's tough, man. So, I mean, how do
And
you
that's why a
typically
lot of times,
go for it?
well, I was gonna say a lot of times people are like, oh, I can figure it out online. I can look this stuff up myself. But what you forget is Google doesn't have a pulse. As much as they're tracking what's going on, they don't know your emotions. They don't know how you feel about money. They don't know what your goals are for your money. Anyone can tell you to buy Tesla stock or to buy Netflix or to buy the companies that are booming. But it's different to actually understand what someone's goals are and to say, okay, this is the best course of action to get you to the place you're trying to go. So it's bigger than investments. And I think a lot of times people don't see that.
Very well said. So, what are some of those? We talk about misconceptions. So, I think you just answered one thing when I said, what are some? I was going to ask, what are the biggest pitfalls that we should avoid when going into the world of financial advising and planning? There's a couple of things that I
Mm-hmm.
think that you've already touched on is that some people do have that misconception that you're just there to sell them something to get some money. But maybe there are some scammers out there in the industry. So I don't know, maybe that can be one of the misconceptions. But another
Yeah,
thing too is you're
they're
saying
definitely.
definitely are they out there.
Yes, definitely.
I was gonna say.
Do
And then
your
the other thing
research.
is trying to like this day and age, we do live in the information age, but everybody think they can go get
Hmm.
their Google PhD, and it's just not that simple
Right.
because it's just information. I love what you said is Google doesn't have a pulse. So I'm sure those would be some
Hmm.
pitfalls, but what else are some of those other things you want to tell people to avoid when starting on the process of talking to a financial planner or advisor?
You definitely want to do your research on who you want to work with. Um, I will give a quick plug to another fellow Eagle, which is Dana Wilson. She's created a platform called Chip, which is a platform that you can use to find other people of color that are financial professionals in your community, that can give you a brief outlook of what they specialize in, what they have a history of working on, so that you can really find trusted financial professionals to help you with um, with your journey. So that's my biggest thing: is do your research, understand what kind of companies people are working for, um, because they're all different. Everybody has different requirements. Everyone has a different niche of clients. So sometimes people may go for one area in their financial world and find that, maybe this person only specializes in life insurance. So they're going to send you to someone else. Or maybe they specialize in sports and entertainment. So they're going to send you in another direction. So a lot of professionals you'll find have different niches. And so it's really important to find out exactly or really articulate what your needs are so that you can be with an advisor that fits you.
Got you. So the more I talk to you, Kiara, is the more I realize how little appreciation I have for how broad financial advising really is. It sounds like you don't throw out about 18 different industries and put them all under the same umbrella. So just kind of like name them out, fingers and toes, count them. Like what all goes into it? We got life insurance. You said sports and entertainment. Like I just need maybe to elaborate on that for me.
I mean, there's really a lot of different niches, and so what you'll find is there are professionals that work specifically with higher education. So they're working with institutions and businesses. And then you'll have people, for instance, my team, we work a lot with corporate professionals and business owners. So we have an understanding of 401k plans and personal retirement plans. And so that is going to be different from somebody that works with agents or, so there's a lot of different facets of planning. And so what people think is that, and what you should really avoid is people that say, I can do anything. Because really, it gets really specific around what someone needs, what your capabilities are. Because even my team, we have a lot of different partners that we work with to make sure that we're servicing clients in a way that fits them best. So there may be a time where you're like, okay, we need to get you to a private banker that can help you with lending or mortgage or, different things like that. And there may be a time where like, okay, this is where you have to literally pass someone off so that they can better serve you. No one should go in saying I'm a one size fit all because there's so many different needs and so many complexities. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But it's really hard for me to list them for you, but it's just, the sky's the limit, literally.
I see that. And there's some that just, are there financial advisor or planning firms out there that are just doing straight stocks and investing as well? Or would that would be more of like get into straight up investment or brokerage firms that they would have to do something else along managing someone's personal wealth or finance, or do you see that often?
Yeah, I would say everyone would have to have stock and investing support or some type of service that provides that, because that should be a part of everyone's caliber to really be able to, talk to you about stocks and mutual funds or bonds or whatever your interest is. So that should be at the foundation of every financial planning team.
So you said that earlier, there's not really a one size fits all that you can just, someone can come in and give you minimum information and you can give them a ready-made plan. But is there one financial instrument or tool that you feel like needs to be a part of everyone's tool chest, especially Black people, as we talk about leaving a legacy for our family, breaking the cycle of, the designed and the designed wealth gap and also missteps that we make ourselves? Is there one tool that you say, like, no matter who you are, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to recommend this to you? Or is it still, you can't call it because the specificity is too high there?
Well, there's several foundational things that every person needs, and that's going to be emergency cash.
Okay.
That's going to be some type of retirement savings vehicle. That's going to be life insurance. There's several things that people need, but it just depends on what stage of life you're in to really say what those amounts are or so that's when it gets into the specifics, but you definitely want to have all those things because I'll give you a statistic around that. And they say the median amount of savings that a Black person has at all times is $1,300. And that's the median. So
that's higher than I would expect.
The emergency cash benchmark is at minimum 3 months of your fixed expenses at a minimum. And
$1,300
depending on
unless you're in college and you got a $400 apartment, which I don't even know if they make those anymore.
Right. And so that's the thing, like the benchmark that we're looking at compared to what a median emergency cash account is for a Black household, dimensions away from where we need to be. And so we're looking at 3 to 12 months is what you would tell someone, depending on what industry and how frequently they're getting paid. But $1,300 is the median for a lot of
So
for the Black community.
So there's a lot of different Black people, like we hear it all the time, right? Black people are not a monolith. There's a lot of different levels, a lot of different flavors of the Black experience. And I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm from Georgia and I know Atlanta and I know the clientele that you're probably dealing with. That's what we call the Black bourgeoisie. Okay. So, and nothing's wrong with that. But what do you say to the average working 9 to 5 guy out there who's punching the clock, maybe making minimum wage or a little bit more? Is financial advising for them? How can they access this type of thing? How can they start to, if they're barely making enough to make ends meet, how can they start to build up that emergency cash fund? Like, is that realistic?
It's a numbers game. So you start with 10%. So you start with saving 10% of your income. And it has to, and what another misconception or another pitfall that Black people have is trying to save more than you can afford to save. So no one tells you, or no one should tell you, to save a certain amount if they don't know how much you are bringing in. So I always tell people 10% should be a manageable percentage of income that you can do, that you can save each month. And so that's where you want to start. And then, if your income starts to go up, you can start to bring that percentage up. But 10% is where I tell people, to start saving.
Okay. Giving some gems so far, girl. You've definitely enlightened me in a major way. And I'm hoping that, what we're talking about here is going to be of value to someone out there listening who's looking for a way out. And what we're guilty of in our culture is we're survivors, right? We go through so much on a daily basis, and we go through so much behind the scenes that people don't even know about. Like this weight that's always on us, it forces us to be on defense. But financial advising, financial planning, that's offense. That's proactive. A lot of time life forces us to be reactive, but I'm just hoping that there's something that we can take away from this to make a difference, make a change, because it's easy to let life just drive you. You're clocking in, clocking out. A lot of people have been there, right? Even people at your level and in higher, like what you call white collar professions, sometimes you just going to work, coming home, eating something, maybe like buzzing out to a little Netflix binge or something, and then taking a shower, going to bed, rinse and repeat. A lot of people out there just living to pay bills until they die, and not a lot of living. So it's easy to just get caught up in the day-to-day, the mundane, and not to make time for doing these types of things. So I would imagine that's one of your biggest challenges too, if you're not, depending on the market that you're going after, is getting people to understand, and that's the education piece like we talked about, getting people to understand the importance of having these conversations and examining these finances and making these plans. So if we could talk about anything else that we haven't already covered, and I know we've covered a lot, what actions can Black people listening to this, watching this, take today to start using financial advisors like yourself, financial planning, or even financial literacy, whatever the case may be? What actions can they take today to start using this to create generational wealth?
I guess the first step is to really understand where you are. So a lot of times, like you said, when you're just running through life, you don't take the time to sit and just think through that. And because it's a lot of times it can be a foreign idea for people to really say, I don't need to do a financial health check. But that's how you have to think about it. It's like going to the doctor every year. Another thing that you need to do is have a financial health check and see where you are and analyze where you want to be, or kind of plan out where you want to be, so that you can make sure you're taking those steps. Because when you're young, those steps could be smaller steps, but as you get older and you're trying to fill in that gap of time that you haven't been trying to attain your goal, those become bigger steps, and you have to put in more work to really get where you want to be. And so I guess to me, that is the first thing, is to really know where you are and to really sit down and say, what can I do? Am I ready to go ahead and start saving money? Am I ready to invest my money? Am I ready to actually have a conversation with someone and tell them, I don't know what I'm doing, help me? Because a lot of times in the Black community, we like to believe that we have control. We like to believe that we know what we're doing with our money. And a lot of time, I mean, just like anything else, you have to outsource some of these things to a professional.
Exactly.
And so really understand what, I don't know if I've even explained what a financial advisor does to serve you, and use them. I mean, even in the community, we do a lot of service to help and just speak on different topics. And so take advantage of that, because as we still deal with the Black wealth gap, there are a lot of opportunities to educate. So be on the lookout for that and take advantage of the opportunities.
Absolutely. So where can people reach you if they have some more questions, if they maybe want to check out more about, you know, Kiara Jones, the Walton Group, Morgan Stanley in general? How can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, so you can definitely reach me on LinkedIn, Kiara Jones with Morgan Stanley. And you can also visit our website. It's advisor.morganstanley/the Walton Group. So certainly feel free to go to our website and find out more about my team, our services, all that good stuff.
Okay. And folks, we'll make sure to put those links in the comment sections. And just going to wrap up here, guys, just to go back over some of the salient points. The three biggest reasons Black people should get involved with the space, right? Number one, we need the education. We need to understand these different instruments of financial advancement. We need to also understand our personal relationship to our money, because a lot of people, I remember back in the day when I ain't have a lot, I don't think I used to even check my bank account because I knew I wasn't gonna like what's in there. So there's some people out there, I know you feel seen, you feel triggered. Yes, I'm talking about you. And then the other thing is just understanding your goals, making the goals, living for beyond just the here and now, being proactive and not reactive. And boom,
Yeah.
just starting, understanding when you need to reach out and find help from somebody. And there's just always a time where you got to admit that, hey, I need help and I got to go outside of myself. And again, Google can't answer everything for you. So I'm going to wrap it up here. And again, everyone, this video, you can also reach Kiara. She's going to be available for answering a few questions here and there on Facebook and LinkedIn where these videos are posted. So she'll be able to moderate a little bit with me because she's tagged in the video. So you guys feel free to drop some more questions for her. Other than that, guys, I want y'all to check back in with us for the next episode of Black Wealth Wednesdays. That will be announced soon on our platforms, be it LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And Kiara, I just want to thank you once again for your time and being with us tonight. It's been a great help.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, folks. Till next time, y'all stay blessed. We'll see you soon.